Testing, 1, 2, 3. Testing, 1, 2, 3. Testing, 1, 2, 3. Hi guys. I'm really not sure if this is gonna work on my iPad, but we're gonna try to make it work, Giving glory to our Heavenly Father for bringing us here and giving us the strength to do this and to deliver the message that we are called to deliver by His power, His mighty power, and His grace. Even in our imperfections, God is working on us to perfect us. So don't forget that, guys, okay? So this message goes out to whoever receives it respectfully or whoever receives it, period. But when I speak, or when we speak, or when God uses me to speak, like I said before, excuse me, I'm imperfect. I specifically speak to our beautiful Black kings and queens. Why? Because they have the most problems, and their cry is the deepest. And so, like a lot of people have said, and what I've heard on the news and different things, when they speak about Black Lives Matter and just different things. I listen to a lot of educational speeches and different things just to find different ways to deliver this message, just to know what's out there and what to really talk about, and what I can deliver to you guys, so we can make the world a better place, so we can make a difference in this world, especially in the Black community. Why? Of course, like I said, because we are the biggest and the most troubled race, right? And so if you go to a doctor, if you go to a hospital, the doctor is not going to people that are okay or that are doing a great job or that are feeling good. The doctor is going to go to people that are the illest, people that are the sickest, people that are having the most problems, so they can solve their problems, so they can get the help that they need. Now, that's what a doctor is meant to do and meant to be. So I'm not a doctor. I never graduated from high school. I never, due to teenage pregnancy, of course, if you've heard my story, I never really got a chance to do the things that I needed to do to be the person that I was, or I'm supposed to be, or I'm expected to be. So therefore, I ask for you guys to please bear with me in this communications conversation. I know there's a lot of things you guys can see and point out and try to talk about, whether it's in the comments or whether it's wherever it is, or whether you do a video about me or a video, whatever it is that persuades you to or that triggers you or that makes you want to say something if my message triggers you in any way, right? So, my hair is not on fleek, guys, because this job is not an easy job. This work is not easy. You know what I mean? There is a lot of things as a Black person that we have to do just to get to that perfection, just to get to be that person that we're supposed to be. Try to understand as a Black person. I'm pretty sure the white people get it, and a lot of the ones or other races get it, but I usually speak specifically to the white race, because when I went to school, this was the race that these were the people that abused Black people in the past and made us feel like, we were nothing just because of their issues. They had their own emotional issues again, because nobody's perfect. And as people, when nobody's perfect, all they're doing is telling the truth about who they are, or fighting to be on top, or to be the ones that have power, or making a statement, you know what I mean, because of the message that was delivered to them. Like it was saying, the Black community or in the white community, a lot of the white people possibly were racist or were angry because of the power Black people had to be able to work under the sun, and they had access to things that the earth was delivering, like diamonds, gold. All these things are under the earth. And so for the Caucasian race, they're not able to be in the sun as long as the Black people could. So they felt threatened by them because of what they could do. But what they possibly did not know, or they had to show, was that the Black people may have had the power and were able to work under the sun. Unfortunately, they didn't have the mind to be able to do the things that white people can do. But white people had the mind, but they didn't have the melanin. So the world was designed this way for a purpose, for a reason. That way people can learn to work together. You know, not black people working alone to build their own nation, and white people are not working alone to build their own nation, so that we can all come together as a human nation, not by color or skin or race, but as people to work together to build a community. Now, white people might have felt threatened, and I'm not saying this to make you feel bad or feel sad, but they might have felt threatened, because the first person to throw their hands or to do certain things is because they feel threatened, and they need to tell you who is the boss or try to prove to you who has the power. So because they know that when you rise and you start to eventually discover your power, there's a possible chance that you can overtake them and overpower them and take what they have. So they need to first show you what they can do or what they're able to do. Now, it doesn't mean black people don't have skills and they're not able to rise up from the poverty or from whatever the slavery or whatever, because God is still on their side too. Just because they're black doesn't mean God is not on their side. Just because you're white doesn't mean God is not on your side. Just because you are unable to be under sun for long periods of time without feeling excruciating pain from sunburn, because God understands that. I understand that because I was born light skinned and I had to be put under the sun because I had jaundice, right? And so I got sunburned as a child and my skin burned. And I don't really I remember crying. I remember the pain, sort of, not really, but I do remember crying as a young infant, as a child, when I was put under the sun because I was being burnt. It's not a good feeling. As I grew older and when I'm in the house long enough, my skin grows back to its natural color. It doesn't go completely, it depends on what I'm doing, but I'm always going in the sun, right? So I spent some time in South Beach, and I went in the sun. I believe God sent me there to remind me of what it felt like to basically be a white person or a person that doesn't really have strong melanin in their skin to be able to stand the sun, right? So because I was indoors all the time, I was unable. My skin went back to sensitive, right? And so when I went to South Beach, where the sun was the hardest, it hit my chest, and I did feel that sunburn. And that sunburn was a reminder. It was God's way of communicating to me, as well as his angels, that look, this was painful. So they were going through a certain pain that you guys didn't understand as a black nation to actually to comprehend, to see why they were abusing you, because they were hurt, they felt threatened by you, they didn't know what was going on too. They were trying to be whatever they were trying to be, but all they saw is that they had limits to their power. Everybody on this earth has limits to their power. I don't know if God has limits to his power. I hear that he does. I believe that he does in some sense, but none of us are more powerful than God, and the universe has its way because we come from the universe, right? So we cannot necessarily, the reason why different people came, different people had to be taken from Africa, of course, for those that don't know, that don't understand, because there are people that don't understand. There are especially black people that cry out and say, well, why did they do this? And they're angry at white people. And so if you're like a certain person that has a white friend or love the white community because they treated you better in this lifetime, Lord knows how they treated you in the past lifetime, but we don't live off of what happened in the past. That's why when we reincarnate into the world, we forget who we were. But there are angels in God that reminds us. There, in due time, God awakens us to who we used to be. As he told me, I used to be Eve in my past life. So please don't stone me. I'm just letting you know, just delivering a message, right? And so the universe made it this way so we can work together. While these people can work under the sun, you have the mind and you have the power to be able to create and to use what they have to build homes for yourself, because there's mercy. God had mercy on the white people. Yes, he did. And that doesn't mean he didn't have mercy on the black people. He had mercy on the black people too. He gave you wealth and ability to stand under the sun so you can dig and work. But without knowledge, when you have wealth and money, and without that knowledge, you do not know what to do with that money, and you will abuse. You might abuse, if you don't have the strength of God on your side, the people around you. You use that power to abuse the people that are around you, right? Because you don't know what it can do for you, or what can it do to you, or what you can do with the money that you have. And this is why God sent me out on the streets to be homeless. A lot of people didn't understand why. I didn't really understand why either to begin with, but I did get it. I did understand once I was out there. I understood. I didn't know exactly what God was doing or what was happening. All I knew is that when I left my apartment, I got evicted because I couldn't pay the rent, or when I left my family and went out in the streets, I knew that I wanted to be on my own so I could learn. Because when I was at home, a lot of things were being done for me. I was being spoiled in a way. I was being given. My sister, one of my older sisters, my oldest sister was giving me a lot, helping me with school, sweet to me, raised me most of the time, doing a lot of nice things for me, right? And so I remember being a child and being told that I could not. I remember being a child and thinking to myself, oh my God, what am I going to do without my sisters? What am I going to do without my family? I didn't know, because I was so dependent on them, that I didn't know what I would do if they were to die, or God forbid, which we don't want them to die, but if they grew old, because when we grow old, we all go die sometime if it's God's will, but in the Bible, of course, it says not everyone will die, but we'll see what happens. Just not to jump into a different topic. But yeah, so I always thought in my head, well, I don't know what's going to happen. I'm thinking in my head, like, what am I going to do? Because they're doing everything for me. She helped me. My other sister, my younger sister helped me. My older sister, all my sisters helped me in different ways, And so it made me a little handicapped in a way. Not necessarily, but it did. It took away, some things that I could have learned, but it wasn't that it was done on purpose. It was love. It was they were able, and I was available, and I was there. And the one sister that I do always remember that was caring for me from birth was my sister Charlotte, aside from my mother, of course, right? Was my sister Charlotte. And so when she took care of me, that's all I remembered as a mother figure, because my mother was came to America to build for her children, make a way for her children to live a better life, because of her story, which we talk about, which she says I can share, by the way. Later on, I'll tell you guys more, right? When you subscribe to my channel, don't forget, and give this video a thumbs up if you like it. If you don't, give your honest opinion, but try to be as respectful as you can. Don't just curse or be angry. I understand you're frustrated and on however you feel, or you may be triggered, but do your best to journal, so when you get on those comments, you are as respectful as you can be, and try to use your intelligence rather than your ignorance, so that you're able to actually have people reply to you and you get the answers that you deserve respectfully. Because when you yell at someone, you're not going to get the answers that you deserve. And that question that you may have, it could make a difference. It could be a question that so many other people have. So when you ask that question in respect, you will get the response that you need from so many people, and you will be able to answer so many other people's question if it's the same question. So just to stick to the topic. So they helped me a lot, right? And so it made me, as a dominant person, it made me a little more dominant, a little more aggressive, a little more demanding, a little more, I felt like, I had to have it. It was mine. That's what you do when you spoil kids. Well, we're not rich. We're rich in our country, but we're not like necessarily rich like rich people in America. We're rich in royalty, but, in America, you come here, they don't really think about things like that, right? So when you come here and your family spoils you and they help you out all the time, right? It's a good thing, right? Because they love you. They've seen what you've been through. They saw my suffering. My sister saw my suffering, right? And she's always had nothing but compassion towards me. She's not the kind of person that ever came up to me and like try to beat me or try to abuse me without trying to solve a problem, which I give her a thumbs up. And I hope, Charlotte, and I hope that she may get, rewarded for being such a patient person, I mean, even my mother, even my other sisters, I pray that they get rewarded as well, because they all took part in raising me as a human being, as a person, as shaping me into the person that I'm supposed to be, or I'm destined to be. But when people work hard, people have their own issues, people have their own cries, people have their own sufferings, people have things that they wanted and needed to talk about back in the days, but never had nobody to talk to about it, and we're always told not to talk about their problems. When you don't talk about their problems, it becomes a big problem, and you don't solve your problems, and you go to work and you try to be there for other people, but you're not there for yourself the way you need to be. You're not pampering yourself. You're going to do things like drink alcohol. Some people even do drugs. Some people abuse other people verbally when they go to work, in their households, wherever they are. But it's because they have been abused, or they felt like they've been misused and not heard, and not given the attention they need to have, because they've done so much. But when they feel like, when will they have a chance to be heard? When will the love show up? The important thing is to do things out of your own kindness of your heart, because the more you do things in expectance of a reward, and then when that reward doesn't show up, you're gonna get angry. So try to think of the reward is you having peace of mind. And if you don't have that peace of mind, get that peace of mind. But look at the things and the troubles that other people have. We don't want people to go through those things. But there are people that are handicapped, that don't have arms, people that don't have legs, people that are blind. Just try to focus on your blessings and thank God for those blessings. You know what I mean? And I believe a lot of times in my family, they did do that, and that's why they continue to help and support me as a human being, right? We all have issues in our family. Nobody's perfect, but the important thing is that we all overcome those issues and not fight against each other, but learn to work with each other the best way, and try to be the bigger person if you are the bigger person, by being able to observe if somebody either has a mental disorder in your house, in your family, or in your friends, in your friendship, or as a customer. Like, if you see customers, they're not going to tell you they're disabled, because people use what they know about you against you. So when they see that you're disabled, they can use that against you. Oh, this person doesn't have this, so look what they can't see even. So they try to take this from them. They use what they know about you against you if they're evil. If you're not a place where you're protected, right? That's why the United States gives handicapped people disability checks. They do this because the United States really does care about you. And as a person, I believe that the United States, the government, has been able to support me in so many ways. My mother has been able to support me. My family has been able to support me. Not everybody can do this. A job can be done. All the work cannot be done by one person. So try to understand if somebody is a little aggressive, or somebody is not as patient as you expect them to be. I have to hear that for myself as well. So when I speak this to you, I also replay this back and remember that. Even if I'm going through hell too in my own way, it is my job and God's job. Well, I work hand in hand with God as well, with His guardian angels, to try to stay calm, because you are in a situation where you're gonna start a battle if you don't know how to diffuse the fire or the situation, or make everything calm. If you don't know how to just control your fire, control your heat, just leave things alone, because you have to understand that some people are not mentally able or physically able, because they either working all day, working all night, or, going through so much that they are frustrated because they've been on their feet day and night, 9 to 5, constantly doing stuff. And when you're able to and even if you're going through something, just because you're laying down and just because someone is not going to work every day doesn't mean they're not going through something, because that's why people have mental disorders, like me per se. When in the beginning, when I came back home, because I was on the streets, right? And I'm here sometimes, not all the time. I'm not here all the time, because I'm like somewhat homeless, because you never know when somebody's tired of you or when someone doesn't want you around. So you never want to make yourself too comfortable in somebody else's house. You want to always prepare yourself to move forward, to do better things, and to get the help that you need. So when I was when I and not to just linger on to somebody or to people, expecting them to always take care of you, right? So just the government is always there to help you hand in hand. So when most of the, I mean, me, I only speak for myself. So if you have an opinion and you feel like the government denied you, there are certain people that are working behind that desk that shouldn't even be behind the desk, because they either lied on their resume about their skills. They say they have people skills. When they had an interview, they were able to tell the person that was hiring them, and able to convince them that they could do and perform the work that they say they can perform. Maybe they could perform it in the beginning, but what they don't understand that is you get worn out after a while, after doing the same job over and over. If you don't have a love in your heart for people or for yourself, or some sort of something comfort in you that makes you happy, makes you want to keep going on, you're going to get tired of what you're doing. And when you find yourself behind that desk, yelling at a customer, yelling at your employees, not doing your job the right way, and because you know that your company is relying on you and you're all they have, and then you start to abuse that power and that authority that you have over them, eventually God will send someone as a secret shopper. I will say that I didn't find this out till later, but like someone such as myself, I feel like in some way I was a secret shopper, because I know I'm going to be successful. There's no way that you can tell me anymore that I will not be successful, because I beat the battle of paranoid schizophrenia, where I was hearing voices in my head, and medication did not take those voices down. But sitting at home and massage therapy was the main thing that took those voices down. Working on my body with God, not by myself and his guardian angel. So I would never say, I did it all by myself. And you guys know that I'm a strong believer in God, Jesus Christ, Jehovah. Whatever God you believe in that. I don't force you to believe in anything, that you don't want to believe in. It, as long as it's teaching you to do the right thing, positivity, go for it. God has his own power, and whoever God belongs to, God will go to God, who is Jehovah, God, or Jesus, or whatever, whoever you believe in. There's no discrimination, okay? So, just so you know, like, a lot of times in the Black community, what I noticed, because I speak specifically to the Black community just because I'm a Black person. I've been Black, and I understand how hard it is. I can't go in the white community and specifically speak to white people because I'm not white. I can speak to white people about certain things or ideas about us or ideas about them, but I don't really know what it's like to be white. I don't know what it's like to be Spanish. I can only speak to my race. If and when I rise, guess who's looking up to me? Black people specifically, and maybe a lot of other white people are like hoping that I'm the person that could help them make a difference. We are a team. It's not just me doing this, and I can't. I was once mad at Black Lives Matter when they started out. You know what I mean? And I respect them for actually putting their foot down and standing up, because it's not easy standing up to bullies. Like people that are racist. It's not easy. After reading all that you've read and what they've done to you in the past, it's a bold move to get up and say, I'm going to stand up and fight for Black rights of the humans or whatever it is. It is not easy, because you have enemies. Especially as a Black person, you not only have white enemies, you have Black enemies. Don't think because of we all as Black people, because when you listen to rap, they're only saying the N-word. They're saying niggas this, niggas that. They're talking to the niggas. They're not talking to the Caucasian people. So they say, I try to give my hand out to these niggas, but all that did was hold me back. In rap music, I listen to rap music. You know what I mean? And so when you listen to what they're saying, there's a lot of them that are saying that they try to help the Black community in so many different ways. but they failed in a lot of other ways. And it's not that you failed, it's just there is so much, especially when you're a person that has been abused as well. And even if you were not abused, being black is not an easy task. Let me tell you why. First of all of us, most of us are not blessed with fine hair, right? So the biggest frustration for us is our hair. It's not our skin color, it's our hair. And then when we go to try to get a job, and other white people that may be secretly doing this, they didn't necessarily do this to me, but I know they've done it because I've heard about it. And I've also heard a few racist jokes, from white people, 1, 2, or 3, not that many, I'm going to be honest. And they probably did it behind my back, but just not in my face. So I did hear on the news some people say, if it's not happening to you, it doesn't mean it's not happening. That's true, because it didn't happen to me like that. I was more shown love from the white race than I was shown love from the black race, and then my mother always grew up telling us to stay away from African Americans, because she knew that if they knew that we were African, they would try to use that against us. She wasn't wrong for telling us that, but because she was, abused by them and made fun of by them, so she was just trying to protect us from people that she knew or felt like were abusing us. And she was helped by white people mostly. You know what I'm saying? And so it was like, they used to egg our door. Talk about our shoes. Black people talk about other black people all the time. This is not okay, guys. I know that you can make comedy about it, but try to think how serious this is. So many black people are committing suicide and killing other black people because they don't know what to do. When you don't teach them, and the thing is, you can't even blame it on America anymore, because this happened so long ago, but the white people in America, and I know it's not just white people that did this, that built America. I know it's a lot of blacks, a lot of Spanish, it's the black slave, and they worked hard to build America, but they, without the mind, like white people did a lot. Don't say that it was just you. They did a lot too to keep it together. White people understand business. They understand back in the days, they didn't really have lawsuits like they have now. White people know that if you know what to do as a black person or a Spanish person or an educated person, if you know that you are attacked in their business in some way, you have the right and you can sue them and come after their money, right? They don't want you to take their money, because they want to be able to continue to build their homes and live there, because they can't necessarily walk under the sun like we can. So they desperately need their homes, right? So just like we need homes too, but just try to understand and be sympathetic towards them as well. That's what they're telling me. And it's not necessarily angels and just instincts and intuitions, I never really just sat. God gave me the gift to listen. You know what I mean? And being able to listen carefully. I've had white boyfriends. My first boyfriend was a white guy, and he was raised in Houston around black people. So if I'm taking him in the hood, they're looking at him like they want to fight. And so I'm triggered if they want to fight my man and they want to fight me. But they don't really want to fight me in the hood. They're just looking like, oh, you taking our woman, what you going to do to her because of what you're telling them what white people did to black people in the past. So a lot of them are looking, the ones that are, I got defended by a lot of black people as well when I was in the hood. I got respected in the hood as well. Even if I had some enemies ready to want to jump me and beat me up, there is a lot of black people that I jumped in their car and they took me home safely. So it's not all black people that are bad. And we smoked a blunt or two when I was smoking in the past. I don't smoke anymore. I don't drink anymore. I had to give those things up. But I've been around black people. I've dated black guys before, and I've had, I've only dated literally had a black boyfriend who was in the military in the past and I don't know if he was a veteran. He's not a veteran, but he got kicked out of the military due to mental health issues, right? And his name is Tyshawn, who is, because I know you guys will eventually ask me, whose name is that? That was Tyshawn. I got his name tattooed. I love Tyshawn. I wasn't madly in love with Tyshawn, but I love Tyshawn. I love the black culture, right? They taught me how to dance, how to be happy. They were so happy. There was so much in the black community that I learned. So it wasn't like I only learned from the white community. I learned so much much from the black community as well, right? But what I did notice was when I was, say, living in Houston, like me and my sisters would go outside, and it was these two little black kids and this black family that just made fun of us so much, all constantly. And guess what? When he made fun of us, karma went back on him. Guess what he did? Somehow, some way, we didn't say anything. We let him. We didn't even want to fight because we didn't really have the skill to be making fun of people or the heart. We didn't want to make fun of people. Me and my sisters and stuff. We were just, innocent, just trying to have friends, trying to have fun. But we're being made fun of because we don't have the shoes. We don't have the looks. We don't have what they're looking for, right? So we're being made fun of because we're African. And why are they making fun of you because you're African? Is because they're told that Africans are poor and they want to limit. They don't want to be in the same boat as you. They don't want to be seen as poor. Because guess what? Even if we're African, Africans are not poor. They may look poor. They may not have. They have the goal. You go to Africa, there is a lot of stuff in Africa. It's just a matter of having the tools to dig it up. It's having the mind to able to multiply what you have. When you go to Africa nowadays, they don't have street lights. They don't have things to care for the people there. But then when I was on the street, I was able to talk to people that were in the military, and now are veterans, but are homeless, or they're just going through mental health issues, or whatever thing they're going through. They don't want to spend their money on $1 million homes or $1 million cars or live a flashy life, or they just, they don't want to deal with that. Or they're undercover, probably watching to see what's going on in the homeless community. It's very important that a lot of you rich people take care and help these. You don't have to, but with kindness, I'm trying. I need you guys to have compassion and try to understand that I'm not trying to make demands to no billionaires or to no. I'm not trying to tell you how to use your money. I'm not trying to tell you anything like that. I'm not very good at communicating. I'm doing the best that I can. So please just try to be as patient and as kind with me as possible, because again, I'm not educated like you are, black or white, whatever you are. If you're rich and a billionaire, I'm not coming after you because you're rich, and I'm not mad at you because you're rich. You know what I mean? I'm just saying, like, try to understand, like, in a homeless community, there's a lot of billionaires now that used to be homeless, right? That should at least understand how hard it is to be a bum or to be on the street, right? And a lot of times you don't know what's going on in the rich community, because that's just as much as of a hood or a gang, just as much as it is down here. The only difference is that it's not really a gang like that. They don't call it a gang. They call it a community. They call it an organization. You know what I mean? Just more educational terms. You know what I mean? You don't know what's going on up there. So when these people come from being homeless and to being rich, you don't know what stopped them or why they can't speak up, or maybe they're not the one. Maybe they're not the one that they're looking for, or you don't know why things are happening. Everybody's falling in the same trap, right? So we can't really get mad at people that, like, at Black Lives Matter for not completing the assignment or understanding the assignment, just because probably there's a big chance that with Black Lives Matter, they probably never been homeless. The people that started this business, they started from my understanding. I never read everything because, like I said, I was diagnosed with paranoid schizophrenia. I always had an issue. I love reading, but I've always had an issue being able to actually complete reading. It's just something my mind used to always drift off and go off. If it's not interesting, I don't want to go on with it. I just want to play. I want to do things. It's too much work for my mind because I was not trained to work my mind that much. You know what I mean? When you're trained to work your mind, you don't drift off as easy. So it's what you practice that you repeat. You practice great habits or certain habits. And there's times where, I wanted to, they have book fairs, and I would, try to either ask my mom, if she can give me money for books and things like that. And she didn't have the money. She only had enough money for my little sister, but not for me, not for all of us. It's 9 of us. It's only one of her. in her defense. And it's not that she can do it for everybody. You know what I mean? It's hard to be, a single mother having 9 children and then every day you never had a break. You've been working all your life. You've been coming all the way from Africa. You never had an epidural when you had these children. Your husband left you hanging, left your house. You feel abandoned. You feel, you know what I mean? And now you got this responsibility. And she never gave up any of her children for adoption. So it's always like, not saying that when you give up your child for adoption, you don't love them. Because like I said, I gave up my child for adoption because God asked me to, and because I felt like it was the best thing to do. Even if I didn't want to do it, I knew that she was better off in the good hands of the millionaires or the people that adopted her. I knew, God showed me who he was going to give my daughter to before he gave me the strength, or we made the decision to give her up for adoption. And it's the best decision we've ever made. There's a lot of either black teenage parents, or white or Spanish or crackheads or whatever. There's a lot of parents that think that it is okay to put your child in a struggle. Sometimes putting your child in a foster home is bad too, because a lot of bad things happen to people in the foster system and children in the foster system that people don't see. And there's nothing nobody can do about it, because there's not enough people willing to adopt certain children, especially black children, because they're too troubled. A lot of even Spanish children, even white children that are spoiled, whatever it is, they want a child that they can raise from infant, and they can mold into what they want to be. A lot of rich people, or a lot of people with a mind, they don't want a child that has a mouth, is mouthing off. So when I raised my daughter, I taught her the best that I could, even if I did spank her because she needed a spanking, because I didn't have the money, so I didn't know how to communicate with her, which anybody could say is a beating, but it wasn't a beating, because I know what a beating is, right? So, they fell in love with my daughter, and her foster parents told me that she was helping them clean. She was helping them, and she was caring for me. And she was like, why can't my mommy live here with us? Why can't you guys help my mommy too? They saw that she had a caring heart, and they wanted that in their family. That's what they were looking for. They saw that she had a helpful spirit, because I helped her. It doesn't matter because I had an alcohol problem. There are times where I partied. Hey, I took my daughter to the party with me. If it was a house party, we went to a party, I took her with me. I told her to go into bed, go to sleep. And the best times was if she was, not that it's the best times and I want her to be sick, but when she had allergies, I'd be like, okay, good, I could just give you like a baby Benadryl or whatever. And then, because she's used to me sleeping with her. I used to spoil her. There were people that were telling me I was spoiling her, but then I was like, I'm not really spoiling my baby like that. And then they had people that were telling me I was hitting her too much, like some of my family members. So I'm like, you know what? You don't know how hard it is until you're in the situation. So when my family or my mother hit me or anything, now I understand, you don't know how hard it is when you're in a situation. If you're undereducated and don't have the finances to really be able to give a child something and take it away, because you don't have the patience, because you got to go to work, you haven't slept, you got to cook dinner, you got to make the bed, you got to yell at them. It's stressful. I had one child, and that was hard enough. I wanted to do it, but it was too hard. And it wasn't like, it crossed my mind to give her to my, to her dad's side, but thank God I didn't do it. God definitely knew not to move me away from there before I even thought. God was like, we're going to go somewhere. We're going to go to New York City. I don't even want you to dare put that baby in their hands, because they'll act like they love you. They act like they love her at some sense, but they know that if they have her, they can get government assistance or whatever, and they can get more finances from that. But because they're not educated, or because I went to their house before, my baby daddy, first of all, he tried to pimp me out, tried to tell me to go in the corner to be a whore and do this thing, do all these things. I told him no. And then he tries to, he was going through abuse of his own. I'm not trying to say he's a bad person, but I'm just saying I'm not about to have my daughter around a man like this. And then whenever she take, because my friends were telling me, so try to understand that I had all these people in my ear. These people raised me, and these people grew with me, and these people either tore me down or built me up. You understand what I'm saying? So I had my friends telling me, I didn't want to introduce my daughter, tell my baby daddy that I was pregnant with his daughter. I told him, and he said it wasn't his baby. But and when I told him that, before I told him that, it was my best friends at the time, my high school best friends, that came up to me and told me, oh, you know, Sade, Jamie, and Sherelle, they were the ones that told me, oh, you have to tell him, because she'll be very happy that you at least try to introduce the father. You know what I mean? You gotta do it, because I believe that they probably didn't have their fathers around, and they probably felt like it was best. They were going according to, because one of my best friends, my ex-best friend, Sherelle, she, her father wasn't always around. Her mother was on crack. All sorts of things. They were telling me these things. And when they tell me these things, I'm learning from them, and I'm listening to them, and they helped build me. They didn't help. There were times where they broke me because they were broken. You know what I mean? But there times where we fought, but we had so much love for each other. Even when we fought, we always get back together, because all we had. What we had was love for each other. You understand what I'm saying? And these girls were the girls, even if they were black girls, they were black girls. These were the black girls that I fell in love with, to be honest, because these girls, they could almost get me in so much trouble, but they were so much fun too. There are times where I feel like they were making fun of me because of their own insecurities. And there are times where I felt like they embraced me in so many different ways, because they opened up to me. They didn't really make fun of me like other black people did in other communities, but they literally they were just being there for me. Nobody's perfect, so they did the best they could for me. There were things that they did that was so sweet. So I knew they were raised by better parents, and grew up like my best friend, my ex-best friend. I don't call them best friends anymore, because we don't really talk anymore, because if they don't see that you're really successful, they don't really want much to do with you. And even if you're not successful, because my best friend Sade, who is the only one that I do call my best friend, even if I may not be her best friend, is the only one that made it to the other side. She's a doctor now. She graduated from college, from a university at UCLA. She's like, I look up to her so much, right? And when I was homeless, she was the one that had the mind to be able to really help me out. She left she left Jamie, who she felt like Jamie was trying to basically she felt like she was not being treated right by Jamie, right, who was her best friend. They called each other cousins. So she always told me, oh, she doesn't really treat me right. She's a bitch, she's this, she's that. We all call each other these names, right? We all talk to each other about each other, and we get back together, and it's always like that, right? These are people that you feel like they might be destined to be with you, because even if you try to run from them, they're always around the corner. And then when you try to drop them, something about them reminds you, something you guys did in the past reminds you of them, and it brings that love back. And it's like, I love them though. Love is blind. Some people are not good for you. Some friends are so addictive, because you guys, when you get together, it's beautiful. You know what I mean? When we got together, it was beautiful. I mean, we used to be fighting in the streets with each other and get back and eat hot dogs with each other. Me and Sherelle fighting, me and Jamie fighting at Hollywood, and then we getting up and we back hugging. Some of us making out, all sorts of crazy things we did with each other. We loved each other. It was nothing like that, but we loved each other. We were like besties, right? And when you get like that, it's like God is in the midst of that. But the enemy always tries to break relationships. When this is a great relationship, the enemy tears it apart, right? And it's not really necessarily even always the enemy. It's sometimes when people grow differently and have different issues, everything just become, they can't really vibe with you anymore, because some people grow faster than you, some people grow slower than you, some people we get ripped apart for so many different reasons. God rips us apart for so many different reasons too, not ripping us apart anyway, but just God separates people so you can grow and learn to be with other communities, and because he has a job for you to do, and this job is not just to be best friends. You have a work, you have a job to do. So when he separated Jamie and Sade, guess what Sade tells me? Sade is like, oh, she says, ever since I dropped her as a friend, ever since I dropped her as a friend, literally I was like, I went to college. I started getting on my P's and Q's, because that was her distraction. That was her addiction. That was her person. And when she dropped that person as a friend, because she was toxic, even I'm toxic to some people. And some people had to drop me as a friend, because I'm so messed up in my own ways, with my own mental issues, that they could not, you can't just hang on, because when you're trying to climb up, sometimes people try to drag you down, not on purpose, with their problems. And if you communicate to them properly, you know what I mean? Sometimes it could be understandable, you know what I mean? But so anyways, so when I spoke in that situation, when she spoke to me, she got success. So that I'm using that as, God is using me to use that as an example, because he's saying sometimes when God separates you as friends, even with my sister, I thought she was like, when we were younger, she was like my best friend. She was the person that we slept in the same bed together. I peed on the bed, and sometimes I blamed her because I didn't want to get beaten, but she was the lucky one that didn't get the spankings. So I'll be like, she did it, you know what I mean? So I don't get spanked, and she didn't get spanked. So we both won, and she was the one that I would tell all my secrets. She was the one that I would trust with all my secrets. She was a doll. She was sweet. You know what I mean? And then I was a bully sometimes, because she gave me a lot of her power. She was always able, whenever I said do it, she did it. Because when you're young and you look up to your big sister, you do everything that she says, because your big sister allures you. You love her. You wanted her to be there. You prayed for her to be there. Now she's here. But your big sister is still a little sister too, because she's still growing too. So when you give her so much power at a young age, when you give someone so much power at a young age, when they're not ready, they're gonna be a bully if you tell them that you can't do what they want you to do. I did that, and I was like, oh, you're not going to do it? Okay, slap. How could you dare say no to me? Like, that was me, because I was growing up. I didn't know who I was and my power. All I knew is if you were in my space, taking up my energy, there was work that needed to be done. You are my assistant. That's how I saw it. And it was so selfish, but I also helped in so many ways. I did her hair. I brushed her hair. I helped her out. I showed her love. I hugged her. I held her hand when we walked down the street. There were times, people would make fun of her when I'm around, and and not make fun of me. And I felt bad, because I was stuck with a rock in a hard place, where I'm like, I don't want to be bullied, but at the same time, I'm like, don't bully my sister. But then I'm like, man, but then I did stand up for her and my brother. When other bigger bullies were coming around, like in the streets, I had to create a name in the streets so they don't mess with my sister and my brother. You know what I mean? But there's some times where, like, you can't really, people are finally not making fun of you, or they're not doing this, and you feel happy that they're not there showing you love, but at the same time they're insulting the person that is around you, and you want to defend them, and you are defending them by being with them, but you don't know how, because you don't want these people to turn against you either. You don't want to create enemies, but then you're like, damn. But see, how I defended the situation by the grace of God was I fought for my sisters and brothers when I was out there in the streets, and they told them, if you mess with Sandra's sister and brother, oh, it's gonna be a problem. She gonna beat y'all up. It's gonna be a problem, because I was crazy at the time. I didn't know I was diagnosed with paranoid schizophrenia. You couldn't mess with my sister, because you know what? I saw my sister, to be honest, as like not just my best friend, but my assistant. All my sisters like that. They were my best friends, but they also were my workers to me in my head. That's all I could think. I'm a Leo. That's all I could think. These people were helping me out. So by them helping me out, I was defending them in a different way. But I can't. They were defending me in one way. I was defending them in another way. So whenever they saw them, they weren't messing with my sister Charlotte. They were not messing with her. Because I had the hands and I was ready to fight anybody that was ready to mess with them. Because they helped me. You know what I mean? So I'm not perfect. I can't fight everybody's battles. And you're not about to use me as your hand so I can get arrested. You know what I mean? So I had to learn, don't be fighting in school. Don't be fighting in the streets because people would use that against you. They'll do certain things. Like I had a friend named Trisha at the time where she was like, oh, you know, you a Crip. You want to be a part of Bloods, but then she's a Crip. And then when she gets in some mess with the Blood because we're friends, she want me to fight with her. All this mess, I'm like, listen. Either you're going to be a Blood or a Crip. And y'all shouldn't be fighting anyway. Blood or Crip, y'all need to learn how to work together, right? Either you're going to be this or that. But when your friend tell you because we're friends, but your friend chooses to be on that side, and you live in a neighborhood where these Bloods or these people are not messing with them, and your friend is telling you, now look, I got some Bloods that are trying to mess with me since you're my friend, even if you're a Blood, come fight your Bloods. What kind of crazy stuff is that? Now, you got yourself in that mess, and you chose that side. I'm not saying I'm an enemy with Crips at all because actually my baby daddy is a Crip or was a Crip from Grape Street, Watts, right? And I was affiliated with Bloods. I never got jumped in as a Blood, but I was always around Bloods, and I always respected Bloods. It's not that I disrespected Crips. It's not that I hated Crips, but Crips hated me. There's a lot of Crips. There were a few Crips that liked me, but very few, very little like this. But I got raped by Crips, like 2 guys that were Crips, right? Hey, there's no hate, but just because that happened doesn't mean every Crip is the same. And then there were some Crips I was able to talk to, but a lot of people that were attacking me were Crips. So mentally, I was like, the Bloods were more about getting money, right? So the Bloods were more like in my mind, because this is how I'm telling you I grew up. I'm sharing this story with you because I'm not trying to say that this is be a Blood, be a Crip. Don't gangbang. None of that is good. Like, work together. You know what I mean? But when you in the hood or in the streets, like, you're forced to join a side or whatever side, you know what I mean? But I never got jumped into sell, so I can't say I'm a Blood or whatever, blah, blah, blah. You know, I can't say that, but I know that that was who I was around, who was around me, who almost basically just raised me, because the neighborhood I was in, there was a lot of Bloods, more Bloods than there was Crips, right? And so basically, they were the ones that I was fighting with, but not fighting, like, they were the ones that were teaching me how to fight. I was fighting Bloods that were guys that were, but we were play fighting because we learned how to slap box. In Houston, Texas, if you fight with a weapon, you're not a real fighter. But when you fight with your hands, you're a real fighter. But when you fight with weapons, you're really a punk, because you fighting, it's like the person that you fight, what they're thinking. So what this told me was like, Houston, Texas is a smart city, I'm telling y'all. So I'll give it up to y'all, Houston, Texas, because in Houston, Texas, they're really like, you know, you want to be able, because you're fighting a human being with a weapon. So that puts you in a more, that gives you more of an upper hand. So they're like, in Houston, it's like, why don't you drop your weapons and let's use your hands? You know, let your hands. But the Bible says it is not by Jesus' Bible says, the Christian Bible says, it is not by, we do not fight by flesh, by spirits or in principalities of spirits. I don't really know how it goes. You know, but we fight with spiritually. We don't fight with flesh and blood, because you have to understand the flesh is weak. You know what I mean? It's innocent. You have to understand the flesh, and it's a baby. And be patient, be humble. You know, that's why people do witchcraft. That's the only way they could defend themselves. That's why people do voodoo. There's no laws against voodoo and witchcraft. There should be, probably. There should be, but how can you tell somebody not to practice their own power? You can't tell somebody don't do that and then tell them don't fight in the streets. You have to allow people to express themselves spiritually, but at the same time, there should be like angelic beings that go against all darkness. That's why there's angels. They fight against darkness, right? And when angelic spirits or demonic spirits try to attack the human force or the human form, they're angels that come to defend you even if you don't see them. So when I was going through my mental spiritual warfare, when everybody was at work, they got angels or demons that are trying to execute me in my own little box right there. And they're saying it's going to be your head. If you don't do this, if you don't silence these voices in your mind, we don't want to hear this. Silence it, or it's your head. And that's what they say to me, right? So you can't tell me that you're not mentally disabled, because you don't know what somebody's going through in their mind. They're quiet. They say if you say something, they're going to take you to the hospital. They're going to put you in a cell if you try to kill yourself. But yet they're threatening you, putting weapons and knives and all this, and telling you they're going to execute you in the worst way. Being attacked by demons is real. Just because you don't feel the attack doesn't mean it's not really happening. And these homeless people, these people on the street that are going through these things are proof that there is a real spiritual warfare going on out there in their mind that's keeping them from making it and surviving in real life. There are voices attacking people, real voices. So try to understand. If you don't go through or hear those voices, try to be a person that understands what those people are going through. You know, don't try to brush them off or be like, oh, because the way you present yourself, the way you talk, don't be fooled by the outside. There is something going on the inside. And it is by the grace of God that I'm even able to even wear this makeup, do my hair, do this thing. This is a blessing, and it is not even the best, but it's a blessing, because there was a time where I could not do this. And I got my mother and all these other people telling me, you're not disabled, you don't got a problem. I don't even know how to explain the problems that I had. But I tell you, because this is now in your hands. When this is delivered, it's no longer in my hands. Now, whatever this message is, I give it to you. Because if God says, this is your queen, or this is your royal highness, however you perceive that is how you perceive it. And it's very important that you respect your royal highness, whoever that royal highness is, whoever your queen is, whoever your king is. Right? Respect them. I know over here in the United States they have presidents, and it's not really much of a royal thing, but you need a royal crown to really fight this battle. All these foreign countries, they got a royal sitting right in their presence. You understand that? There has to be a royal something, because everybody wants to make a one ruler, but we all need to share the throne in some way. We're a team. Don't fight trying to be on top. It's not a competition. It's a team effort. There is no business, not even the world. Even God needed us to build this world. We may not have been there to create this, and he was alone on his own while he was building. But that's why he sent Eve out there and Adam to create this, so we could finish what he already started by his power and grace. A lot of times when you're a boss, you can't really come down and die for people's sins. That's why he sent Jesus. You cannot touch the royal king, God, the Almighty, and try to execute. That is abomination. That is against your own body, because it is out of God and out of Eve, out of the human flesh that we were created. So to perform a ritual of executing God is saying is demonic. And God says that's why he sent Jesus. It's not that he didn't love Jesus. He had no other choice. He could not come down. God's power is so strong that you have to prepare yourself to receive him. You got to prepare. That's why Jesus came to die for the sins of so many, so that there could be a Christian race. When Jesus came, there was mercy. Mercy. God is very sorry to Jesus. He's like, I don't want to hurt you, but I have no choice but to put you right here. I can't come. He is the holder Are you going to send your Rihanna or the billionaire or the person, the face of your big business down here to deal with us without what is it called? Security guards to do the, then people are going to lose their minds. They see Rihanna. This is their dream. You have to be prepared to see your favorite celebrity. God is a big celebrity. And we bow down to God. Even Jesus must bow down to God. But guess what God says? Even he, with a humble heart, bows down to Jesus. He says, because it's a partnership. When Jesus cries and says, well, what did I die? Why do I have to go through that? That's not fair. And God says Jesus wasn't the only one that went through some sort of suffering, but he's the only one that went through what he went through. There were other people on the cross. But look, there are people on the cross that their legs got broken while they were alive, but Jesus' legs didn't get broken. But also Jesus had to wear that sharp crown and had to get beaten with the thorn, with the belt. The emotional pain and the loneliness that he felt. God said he went through that kind of pain too. And it had to be emotional too. To be a man that builds this world and this house, but cannot live in it because it's too important, too big. It's not fair. He was crying. But no one can hear his cry. Because there are some people that don't even believe he exists. We came from somewhere. People are marching for Jesus Christ, are marching for God, are marching because there is an existence of God. He's not just a spirit. He has a flesh, but he has to hide in the spirit because he works in the background until he finds his queen. Do you think that God is just is a man with no woman? Why would God put in the Bible and say men should not sleep with men like that they sleep with a woman? Because in God's terms, it's an abomination. But even if it's an abomination, there is a reason why it happened. Because when Jesus came on earth, there was mercy. And he said, you know what? Don't judge lest ye be judged. The Bible said so many things. God had to say that men should not sleep with men. He had to say that. He's the king. He got to say that it's not allowed. But if you do it, it's on your own decision. I say no, but if you do it, just like when we go on those comments, and they said, this is our community. We don't allow you to be disrespectful. You can be disrespectful. It's your decision. But don't say I didn't tell you. And that's what God is saying. Don't be gay. Don't do this. Don't smoke. Don't do that. Don't sin. But you know what? I'm telling you don't do it, but you have your own freedom of choice. So do what you feel. But don't say I didn't tell you, and don't say I didn't warn you. But when Jesus came and had mercy, it doesn't make it okay to do certain things, but there are certain reasons why people do certain things. There's certain reasons why some people are gay. Some women can't perform the way a man performs because a woman doesn't know a man's body the way another man knows a man's body. It's very frustrating when somebody cannot do their job right. It's frustrating because what this body, there is a way that it has to be touched. There's a certain way it has to be. You're performing a ritual. When you lay in bed with your wife or your husband or whoever, it's a ritual. When you make love, that's a ritual. So there is a certain way you gotta touch and know. So when a man has been with women and nobody can do it the right way, he's gonna be mad, frustrated, angry. Because down there is a muscle. It's almost like a tool, a wheel, driving, a weapon, a sword, a vaginal sword, and a penis sword. They're both swords. You understand? And you cannot just touch anybody anyway. God has specific people that know when God is in me, when God is with me, and I'm in my bed and I'm young and nobody's touching me, but I'm masturbating or whatever I'm doing, because God is showing me how to work my own body. My body is so important that I don't allow just anybody to touch my body. You can't touch if you don't know what you're doing. Because this is a car right here. You can't get behind the wheel if you don't know how to drive it. You understand? You're not about to frustrate me. And you're not about to hurt my power. That's my power down there. You're either going to embrace it and know how to do what you're doing, or you're going to frustrate it and cause me to kick your ass. Get out. You can't touch me because you don't know what you're doing. That's just the way God designed me. If I'm in love with somebody, I have to be in love. There has to be some sort of love. I could never just make love with someone. It would just be with just anybody. I have before just for fun. But that doesn't work. It's not fun when you're not connected, soulfully connected. It's deeper than just physical connection. It's a soul. When you penetrate, your soul penetrates the person next to you. So you look for the person that you want to be with. But they come with issues. So you can't be with somebody if they have issues and you got issues and y'all all got, it's just going to be war. So you guys need to solve your problems. You need to sit down, solve your problems, and then let that person come in your life. Then you can know how to deal with them properly. So you're not ready to fight them because you're angry at God or you're angry at everybody else and you never got a chance to beat somebody up. So now your man is here and now you're ready to fight him because he took too long to show up. And because his ass is not doing the right thing because he's so messed up. That's why God separated me and my ex. And that's why he's my ex now. He got too many problems. I got too many problems. God is telling me he's my husband. I don't know how to explain this to the world. Now I'm feeling crazy, but it's the truth. Because God says, even if it sounds crazy, you need to trust me. They're not going to believe you, but I'm using you for something. You're not a mistake. I don't care how dirty you look. I don't care how old you are and still haven't graduated, still haven't left your daddy or your mama's house. You are important. Don't jump off that cliff. And don't let those enemies and those friends, and just because all these people in your race in the black neighborhood, they're all messed up. They're doing that because they're messed up because they were told they were not important. That's why. Try to understand why. It doesn't mean stay around because you understand. Don't allow yourself to stay abused. There is a white community that cares about you. A Spanish community that cares about you. Other communities that care. For me, I say white because when I go into business, let me tell you, it's a form of worship in a way, only because they came to my rescue, because they knew my pain, because a lot of them caused, it may not be towards me, but my color, but when somehow the presence in me touched their heart. The God in me touched their heart. Somehow, angel spoke to them. And they sensed an angel. Or they sensed something that caused them to show me kindness rather than wrath and anger. When I was on the street, they gave me money. They didn't make fun of me. But I'm on the street, but black people are making fun of me because my hair is not good enough. My skin is not bright enough. They're attacking me because they were attacked, but that's no excuse to continue to do it. A white person can't really say, they can say, but they can't really say that black people don't want to hear. And some black people, uneducated black people, don't want to listen to educated black people because they feel like it's competition. Because they're angry because of what happened to them. When you don't teach somebody the right way, you can't expect them to do the right thing. So don't think I'm knocking you down. I repeat it because I'm trying to perfect my deliverance. without making it look as if I'm putting you down because of what you don't have. I'm black too. Don't you think I know your struggle? That's why I'm telling you. When you see another black person, you help them if you see a problem with them rather than make fun of them, because you're black too. You know it's hard. Maybe your hair may be better. Maybe your skin may be lighter. But you know, a lot of people don't like dark-skinned people like that. Black people are ashamed of themselves because they're told they're ugly constantly. So when they look at another dark-skinned person, they see it as a reflection of ugliness because they were told they were ugly. So they're telling them they're ugly. You're ugly, you dark, you so black, you're purple. They're making a joke out of it. It's a demonic spirits are in their heads now. Their temple is the temple of Satan because they've been abused. They don't even know that what they have in front of them. You keep making fun of all your fellow black people because they failed at something. Well, how about you stand up and try it? You see how hard it is. That's why I don't really make fun of Black Lives Matter. But when they did start out, I was like, I don't trust them. I don't care, but I don't want to be a part of that because I was abused by a lot of black people. So I was like, I can't go up there because I feel like they're going to try to jump me. They're going to try to hurt me because I'm African or because my skin is lighter or whatever reason, because that's what they did when I was growing up. And they were not giving me a hand. Even when I grew up and was homeless on the street without this weave in my hair, without my makeup done. You hear it in the comments. Read the comments. I don't want to see that anymore. Talk about it. But have a reason why you're talking. Try to comprehend. Try to see. Because we've all done it. You can't say you have never done it and say, oh, her nose is too big or her lips. I've done it before. I'm sorry I did that. Okay. Their lips may be too big. It's fine to say that, because you just saying that. But being apologetic and say I'm sorry, it's just not my preference. And be like, but you're beautiful. Just because I don't like, it's not my interest, doesn't mean that it's not beautiful. There is someone out there that love them big lips, girl. Oh boy, there's somebody that loves you transgender or whatever you are, that loves that big old nose. There is somebody out there, and somebody so sexy, you're a perfect person, whether people think they're beautiful or not. There's somebody like, man, you are beautiful. You got me messed up. You are gorgeous. That's how I always saw black people. I saw them like children, like don't get insulted like my babies. Like, man, I've been in Africa. Dude, I've been beat up. Don't think that was done when I was in Africa and you were in America getting beat up by the racist white people. I wasn't in Africa getting beat up by my own fucking black people, my own family members, my stepmother, not my dad, not necessarily my sisters, but my stepmother and my mother. But she has an excuse. But my stepmother, and I can't get mad at them either. I can't get mad at her either because she had hate in her heart. Because she was, Lord knows what she'd been through. I can't get mad at her. I got to forgive her and let it go. But I got to share it with you. If I don't share this with you, you will never know me. When I become famous, never say you're too old to make it. You're setting yourself up for failure the minute you don't think you're going to make it. You got to believe in yourself. I don't care how gray your hair is, how old you are. You're going to make it. You don't know what God has in hand. You don't know who God is about to put in your path to change your life. Just like that. Be ready for that change. When I got hit by a car, I didn't even know about a lawsuit, right? I didn't even know what was going to happen to me. I was sad. I was angry. I was broken. I was terrified. I wasn't trying to get hit by a car. I was trying to simply cross the street and go home to try to calm down and keep myself from wanting to kill myself, because I didn't want to kill myself anymore. But at the time I was listening to Pastor T.D. Jakes, and he was praying over my head. I rebuke in the name of Jesus and all that. All of a sudden, when I went to my sister's house, I shared with them. I told them, I'm depressed. I'm not happy. I'm not happy. Where's my happiness? Where's my joy? God took away my joy. I was on the street happy. You will never see me off the street because I was so damn happy. You know why I was happy on the street? Because I was not in my house anymore getting abused. Whether it was verbally abused, mentally abused. So I didn't feel like I was in competition with anybody. Even if the people that were in the household were abused, that's why they were going through that. At least I didn't feel like I had competition. I had to be perfect for anybody. I wasn't judged. There were a lot of black people on the streets, in the shelters. When it first all started out, that was before I got really ugly. They loved me. They were my friend, or at least tried. They took care of me. My ex-boyfriend Tyshawn, he took me in. I asked God, even if it was me who invited him over to my sister's house, even with his problem, but he loved me. He loved me. He slapped me too. Tyshawn, he slapped me. He cheated on me. And I was sitting there like an idiot, letting him slap me. I needed him because I didn't want to be alone to raise my daughter. And he was helping with my daughter. But on the other hand, he's slapping the shit out of me too. And I'm like, stop doing that. It hurts. Why would you slap me? I don't know how to fight you or fight back. Why would you slap me? And there was times where I was like angry and I would just pick up some stuff. I'm like, don't ever, I'm done with you. It's over. And he's on the floor like a bitch crying to have me back. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. So he was going through something mentally too, because he's crying and begging. He was ready to even kill himself in front of me. And I was like, I knew it was God in me. But something in me was like, you got to let this man go. If this man kill himself in front of you, that's the case. There's no cameras or proof that he did it himself. So you got to be careful dating mental patients. Because they won't tell you they have a mental disorder. But when you trigger them, when you get in their presence, that's a trigger. You pull that trigger, whether it's your tongue, it's your mouth, or your body part, whatever it is that you pull against that person, whatever your energy, even your own energy can trigger that person. And they start reacting to what they feel, the energy that's coming out of you, they react to it. We in my sister's house, my sister is at work. I'm with my daughter. This man is coming in with a knife trying to kill himself. Saying he's going to kill. I'm like, Tyshawn, get out of here. You can't do that in here. I didn't know what to do. I never dated a black guy before, and I never dated a crazy guy either before that was doing that. So I said, you don't do that in front of me, because if you tell them, please don't do it. A lot of times mental people, they're going to try to do it so you can get closer to them. So you got to be very careful. They want you to show them their emotions. That's why I was like, I'm not about to do that. I'm going to tell them you got to go. And you know what? When I told him that, he stopped. He started banging his head on the wall. I didn't know what to do with him. When I tried to go to work, and imagine I'm leaving my daughter with him to go to work to make money so I can build a house for me and him, so we can have a place to stay and not live with my sister. When I go to work, he doesn't want me to go to work sometimes. He says, I want to be with you. I don't want to be with her. He has with Kalia because I want you and I want you here. And I'm like, what's going on? I got to go to work. Do you want to get a job? I yelled at him to go get a job. Guess what? He stole money from the table, from the waiters, because he was a waiter. He couldn't keep that job. But when I yelled at him, baby went and got a job. I said, go get a job. I'm not the only one here. He was like my husband at the time. We were going to get married. He got my name, Sandra, on his arm. I got his name, Tyshawn, on my wrist. He said he was an angel. And I said, I feel like I'm an angel too. But angels have demons that try to fight them too and attack them. Especially, and I'm not saying I'm an angel and I'm a perfect person. I don't want you to misinterpret that whole thing. I'm no angel. I don't want to say that because it just, people don't understand when somebody says they're an angel or this and that, right? We're talking on a whole different mental, a whole different level mentally when we say things like that. We don't even know what we're talking about. But something in us makes us feel this way. Right? I see military soldiers as angels. When they become guardians, you become a guardian. When you start to oversee the problem, when you become the person that solves those problems, rather than always be the problem. The person that's, you know what I mean? God has positioned you to be and to do certain things. Those are gifts. Even if you can't do everything or certain things, there are certain things that you can do. And those things that you cannot do, you either can learn to do or somebody else can fill in for you so we can work together. I don't know how to do math. I have this laptop. All I know is how to search the internet. This Apple laptop, there is so much power to this and so much we can do with this. But right now, all I know how to do is send emails, search the internet, look at pictures. I don't really know how to use iMovie to edit any of this. You know what I mean? But that's why it's good to have Apple education. You know, I saw that on Instagram once, where they make an Apple school, and there's somebody said, you know, they're not using the Apple phone to actually record this video, and it's true probably, but I don't know, because the Apple iPhone 14 Pro, I have it, right? Sometimes it performs well, sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes the camera is perfect, sometimes it's not. A lot of times it could be the case that you have, because it's covering the actual lens. It's another lens under the actual lens, so it can make the picture be blurred. But you need a case with this phone, because it's $1,000, or not even just $1,000, it's $1,800, almost $2,000 just for this phone, depending on how many terabytes. This MacBook Pro is almost $2,000, everything. So you asked me what did I do with the money that was donated to me? A lot of the money went to buying the right products. Apple is a very great tool. I'm impressed. There's a lot of things we can do with the Apple computer. I'm not saying the other products are not good, but the security system is so superb. And just everything. I feel like I can understand this computer better than I can understand other computers, even if I don't understand it completely, right? I feel like there's a heart-to-heart connection. The way it feels. They speak to the artist. It's not just this. It's the way, it's like you're speaking to my artist side, my artistic side, my Apple. Eve, you're speaking to Eve. Guess what the tool, the fruit that Eve ate. Who they say is her, is me, right? I rebuke any evil spirit that tries to fight against me or against her. Mother Earth. Eve is Mother Earth, right? So you cannot get mad at Eve for eating the apple, because Eve was hungry for knowledge. If she didn't eat, she wouldn't know. Every day we eat from the tree, the tree of life. When we go to school, when we read a book, that's the apple. When you don't have education and you don't know, there is a price to pay of death. Yeah, there was that price, but God wants to end that, right? God wants to end that. There comes a time where death has to be beaten, and everybody has to learn how to live eternally, if God says, if they wish, if it's God's will or whatever, right? So you can't get mad at Eve and be like, you stupid, because I've heard it. You said, man, stupid Eve, it's all her fault. It's not her fault. When they didn't teach black people anything, look what they're doing to each other. Because of lack of knowledge. People that are ignorant and don't know, look what they do. They kill each other. They terrorize each other because they have no knowledge. And they say, well, why did God tell Eve not to eat? Because God didn't want Eve to die. Or Adam. It was a warning sign. It didn't mean he didn't want Eve to learn or to know. But there's a trick to this. There's a lot of tricks, but God is smart, because He knows the effects of what this might do. So He's gonna say, "Don't do it, lest you die." But guess who created Satan? They say he was God. I don't know if Satan existed or anything, but in the Bible it says God made Satan, and he was His most beautiful angel or whatever, right? He was there for a reason. He lied when he said, for sure you won't die. But there is some truth in the things that he said, like you will know. Or you'll be like God and you know. But with knowledge comes power, and you build with knowledge. You need it. We don't want to die anymore, but that was the price to pay. Nothing is really free. Somebody has paid a price. You guys, I paid a price with the strength of God for me to be able to speak to you guys. And those voices and those demonic spirits, that terrorism that I got in my mind was the price. It was nothing nice. You think it was pretty? It was not pretty. It was not pretty. Remember when Beyonce says pretty hurts? Even knowledge hurts. That's why in the Bible it says too much knowledge is not good. When you know too much is not good. So sometimes it's okay to rest from that knowledge. It's good to know, but rest is good too. Right? That's why they're babies and they're children. Because people reincarnate. And they're born back in the world, forgetting who they were in the past and all they've been through. It's a fresh start. That's why in the Bible it says you're born again. Some people are born again spiritually, while others are born again physically. God, like I said, I always have my angel, one of my angels, Paul Walker, Jesus Christ. Those people, they spoke to me. They speak to me. They tell me positive things. Be strong. This is Paul in my dream. This is Paul. I can't believe Paul is speaking to me. They think you're crazy because Paul Walker is speaking to you. Yeah. Because this woman is an important human being. That's why everything is shaken in her life. The enemy attacks when he sees that you are a weapon formed against him. He's going to attack you. But in the name of the Lord Jesus Christ and God, Jehovah God, he will not touch a hair on your head. And these people, Eve, that are against Eve, they're only standing against their own selves because this is the Mother Earth. You perform a deadly ritual on Mother Earth, you're trying to perform it on yourself. It's going to just backfire on you. The ground shall break when you try to destroy Mother Earth. You understand that? So don't get mad because she did that because of her lack of knowledge. She didn't know. Remember, Adam and Eve did not know they were even naked. Do you think God is some pervert that it just wants to watch you walk around naked without you knowing? But he's not going to tell you do this when he knows that you're going to die. So it's tricky. So God felt like he was in a certain position too. So you can't say that, oh, God was against Eve and God. No, you can't say that because he was in a position where it was tricky. Don't you think God didn't lay with Eve sexually before Eve was with Adam? This woman, and God is a man, but this woman is here. What do you think? And God is sitting. Do you think that your penis is just something that was a design? God said he created man out of his own image. So as a man, what you have, he had. He's just spiritual now. He's spiritual so that you don't try to find him. Because these are enemies. When you make yourself an enemy of God by not bowing down to him, saying he doesn't exist. You're making yourself an enemy of the creator of the universe. So you put yourself at war against him when you do that, right? It's important to believe in a higher power. Believe in God, Jehovah God, who sent Jesus Christ. You don't have to, but it's very important. I don't believe in any other God. I don't discriminate and I don't hate them. I don't disrespect other gods. That's your God. I'm not going to disrespect your faith. Because I know if you don't believe in something, you're more lost than anything. So it's better to at least start somewhere in belief, in faith. But I believe in the power of the Holy Spirit and God, Jesus Christ, Jehovah, who sent Jesus. Not because he hated Jesus. Yeah, there was a jealousy. God says he was jealous of Jesus. Remember, in the Bible says God is a very jealous God. And when you try to take his position, he could let go of the position and be like, all right, but the universe is not going to allow you to take that position because the universe knows who's on the throne. It recognizes him as a key. But God gave Jesus power. So you can't just destroy Jesus and say his life doesn't matter. Because he came in defense of human beings. And God says he didn't have children. Because the new generation is going to be his generation as well. Why do you think it said Jesus was his only son? Because all of these people are Eve's or Adam and Eve's children. All of these people are Adam's semen. But Jesus, God, not Jesus, but God, Jehovah God, had to wait for lifetime after lifetime for Eve and Adam to do their thing, angry and hurt that his queen was taken away from him. That queen was Eve. People don't understand that. What are you saying? God slept with Eve? Why wouldn't he? She's a woman. He's not going to sleep with Adam. But they were sleeping. So nobody, you guys don't know this. But the Spirit of God speaks to me and tells me what happened. And he says, even if they make fun of you because of the words that you say, still speak it. Because I told you to speak it, and because you love me and you defend me. Even if you don't understand what's going on. I wasn't here by mistake. You think I'm crazy? I'm not crazy. Because God has delivered me from hellfire. A lot. They've had evil plans for my life. This is living proof that God is on my side. And we will see. Jesus always says, all the other spirits say, we will see if it's going to continue to be by your side. Jesus is scared. He's like, they're trying to crucify you too. Look what they did to me. They're trying to use you to speak all this thing to do. And then when you get there, they're trying to execute you for their own thing. Because they have power to bring you back. No, that's evil. But you know what? Whatever it is, I pray that God will be by my side and help me overcome it. But I pray that it never happens. I pray in the name of the Lord Jesus, God Jehovah, that whatever plans that they have for me, they will be demolished and removed. Because if you try to perform evil rituals on Eve, God says, this is what God said, the ground shall break. And a lot of people are like, we're not afraid of the ground breaking. We're done with this shit. And then God said, well, y'all will be tortured. It's abomination to go against Mother Earth. And to go against God, to go against Jesus Christ. You can make yourself an enemy of Jesus Christ. But this person is who God put in defense of him. That's why he said through Jesus, you cannot get to God unless you go through Jesus. That's why a lot of Christians suffer. A lot of Christians have been tortured and killed in the past. It's terrible. Because what people don't understand is they're coming for God. Why did God destroy the world in the past? Because God was, even if God was alone, they were over-dominating. And they were doing evil things. And God had to show Eve that he had power over those people. And they didn't have power over him. And he had to show them who's God. The very image that you have belongs and is like God's. It's God's image. But you are not God. You understand that? You're not. Because in the Bible it says, can you turn one's hair gray? You cannot. They have to grow into the grays. People have to dye their hair to run from the grays. But when those grays come, there's nothing you can do about those grays except for dye it. You can't control that. Can you tell God the number of hairs on your head? You can't. Can you tell God how the universe was made? You can't. You were not there. You're not God. I'm not God. Eve is not. I'm not God. Eve is not God. But what God says to Eve, or to this woman, is that she was created. She was not created, but she already existed. But he had to tell the story of that because it's too hard to explain, right? Every day, there is a man and a woman. You have a twin flame. You have a soulmate. Someone that is your other half. The female version of you. You know? So I'm not saying I'm God. Eva's not saying she's God or anything, right? Just to clarify that. But just to tell you things like that so you can try to understand what's really going on here, right? So you guys, let's do our best to work with each other, especially in the Black community. If you're a Black person, try to show love to your Black people in the street. I know it's hard. But hear it from another Black person. Someone that actually has some knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. I'm not saying other Black people don't have knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. They have it in their own field. Everybody has a different field. Some people are good at this when they're weak at that. Sometimes I speak to my sisters and I don't understand why they don't understand the simplest things. But they graduated from college. What don't you get? This is a smaller... It's just because they were not in the same... They studied something different. You understand? Sometimes when you study one thing, you fail to learn the other. When I came to America, my focus was English, but I failed in math. I failed in this other thing. I couldn't learn anything until I learned English. Right? And I stuck to that. Because if I didn't know how to communicate, or if I didn't know English, I didn't know anything else. Guys, thank you so much for tuning in with me. Your queen is here, right? According to God's will. But you know what, guys? Try to be respectful, and I pray that you guys will use this message with love, receive this message in love, try to understand. I cannot take this back. I can't even erase this. This has to come out of me. When God calls you to do something, you got to do it. You cannot say no. It's not an option. When you are a winner and God calls you to be a winner, you must win. There is no death coming upon you. There is no crucifixion coming upon you. You must win. There are some things, the crucifixion happened already, but there's some things that have happened, right? But God gave you the strength and He was there for you while you went through it. When Black people were being abused and being beaten, they were being crucified. That was crucified in a different way, right? When white people were going under the sun and feeling the heat, the sun's heat and sunburn, it was a crucifixion in a different way, right? But we're all here as students, right? Never forget. We may be a teacher. You may be a teacher and sit under the desk. But remember, there's always a higher power. And you will always be a student as long as you're here. No matter what situation you're in. If you're not God, you're not the teacher. But God says He learns from us too. But you know what? Give all power and glory to God, and never try to put yourself in that position where you're saying you have the power and this and that. Be very careful. I'm just warning you guys. Always surrender your power to God, because power belongs to God. You never want to have power that does not belong to you, because it can destroy you. You understand? So people hunger for power, but they don't understand that power, there is a price, and it's too much. That's why we each have, God gave power to each person. A little bit of this, a little bit of that, to remove all that power off of Him too. It's too much power for one person. It's not good, right? Don't be too hungry for power and forget. You understand? No one's perfect. Don't be jealous because somebody is being successful. You see another Black person making it, and white people are loving on them. Because this is what Black people are doing. They're trying to impress white people, right? They don't realize that's what they're doing, but they're trying to. And there's nothing wrong with that, because they're learning so much from the white people. The white people have showed them that their dominance in this world, right? But we ask you with sympathy. When a beautiful Black person comes in your presence, you as a white person, even if you're racist, please try to understand. Don't try to burn them. Don't try to crucify them and sacrifice them to your gods. Please, have mercy. Because remember, there's a bigger God, bigger than you. Somebody more powerful. Have mercy. Try to understand. When you see a Black person, when you see them homeless, try to understand what happened to them. We try to have sympathy, and there's some of them that come and they be like, we don't give a shit about y'all, blah, blah, blah. You know why they're acting like that? Because they were treated like that. And it happened generation after generation. Once you started beating on them And it wasn't just white people that were beating on black people. Black people were beating on black people too. Doing worse things, blood diamonds. When you don't have the tools or the knowledge, you try to use whatever weapon that's around you, do whatever you can to get that because you're hungry. So when you have that kind of power, please have sympathy. Have mercy. Have mercy. You as a white person, you as a Spanish person, you as an Indian person, have mercy. You guys' hair is different. This hair, this is not even my hair, this is a weave. But I wear this weave because my real hair is hard to deal with. And when you tell me I'm ugly all the time, it's hard for me to be successful. Because I'm trying to impress you. I'm trying to be better for you. Try to understand that. I'm trying. But you don't know until you put in that position, right? My hair frustrates me. I don't want to be perming my hair. Look at the chemicals that go in the black people's brains whenever they put relaxer in their head. Look how hard they're trying to impress you as a white person or as an Indian person or as a person that is accepted because of your fine hair or your light skin or whatever it is. You know the chemicals that go in the brain? Those relaxers? They doing it for you. So you like them and accept them so they can have a job. So they can eat. So please, Black Lives Matter. Don't spend all your money on alcohol, on taking, bailing out this person and bailing out that person if they're not doing anything to build the black community. So many black people need you. That's why I stopped drinking. I can't get rich if I'm an alcoholic. I'm going to spend all my money on alcohol or go get alcohol poisoning. That's why I stopped smoking. It's hard to quit. But look what you can do with the money. Build more recovery systems for black people in the black community. Build more art programs where they can express their energy so they don't go trying to kill other black people. In the white community, there is artistic places. There's places like ballet. Just make it affordable or even free. Where you try to pay for that. God will bless you. People are not going to allow you to do it. People will donate. When I was on the street, people were donating to me. I mean, these white guys gave me, there was this white guy that gave me, and I'm not saying just white people did this, but I'm going to be honest, because I owe them that. Black people didn't really start giving me and helping me as much, or helping me at all, period, until the Black Lives Matter march started, until the pandemic and Black Lives Matter march started. When they're attacking your queen, they get attacked. And you get attacked. Be careful. You get attacked. But you shouldn't, in the name of the Lord. Nobody, unless they're a weapon formed against the queen and God's forces. God's the king. And he put Jesus on the throne to be the king as well. I don't know how that's going to work out, y'all. But, they'll talk about it later. But this is what I'm telling you. God put me on the street for a reason. So we could see what we can do to help the black community. Because in the street, it's not just black people that are homeless, but it's mainly black people that are homeless. And probably the white people that are homeless out there, or the Spanish people, they got caught up with drugs and got trapped. Now they stuck. I said, we got your boys too now. Where's your daddy? Your daddy's rich. We need money, we hungry. That's what they told me. They spoke to me. I spoke to, there's a lot of black people that I spoke to. It wasn't that much, but they were the ones that I spoke to meant the world to me. Because they didn't try to beat me up, rape me, or anything. They tried to explain to me what they were going through. I felt like God is talking to me through them. So when I come to the world to talk to you, when God raises me up, you know why I'm here. You understand why it's probably hard for people, the creators of Black Lives Matter, to do what they did. Because they have an evil, or something is happening to them because evil was done to them. They're trying to heal. Lord knows what kind of mess they're in now. But you know what? They say they were going to step down. and they put other people. You can't knock down Black Lives Matter because they have done a lot of just for them standing up, there's a lot of change that has came. I've seen ever since Black Lives Matter marched, there was a change in the black community. There were some black community people, some black people that disrespected me because they feel like they were on top. So they're probably disrespecting them. Because sometimes black people, when they see you got money, they think you owe them. They don't owe, nobody owes you nothing. We have to help because we're put in a position of power. We need to help. But when you start making demands and you start being disrespectful, people don't want to help you. Because now you're making them feel bad about helping you when really they were doing it from the bottom of their heart. So be nice to the black people that are trying to help you. You're going to need them. Even the ones that are out there that may not be trying to help you, be nice for your own safety. Find a way to communicate without abusing or harassing another black person just because you're going through something. Try to be an understanding black person. I speak to you because it's happening in that community. I'm sure it's happening. There's bad things happening in the white community, but I'm not there right now where I know. I can't speak up on what I don't know. I care about you. That's why I'm telling you. God cares about you. That's why he sent me to speak to you and for you. Have mercy on each other. Because mercy was given to me by the white people. So white people, the ones that help me, are like, look, please talk to them, you know. I don't want to be put in a position with the white boyfriend and this, and all that. I don't want to be at war with each person. Love each other, work with each other. You look at the white community. I've recorded a lot of videos when I go in the white community, right? I know it's because they have the money, they've had this, and they have the ability to make a better place, right? But they're also teachers in a way, right? They could go to war against each other, but they know. They were given the knowledge that if they fight, a house that fights against itself will not stand. So you need to fight and work with each other. Work with each other. See what they're doing, how they're building. But when you, on your rise and your come up as a black community, don't go to war against them because of what they did to you in the past, and use it as revenge. Forgive. You got to let go of that anger. That's why Black Lives Matter. We're asking you, God, by the grace of God, please try to look in these comments of these people that don't really have, these homeless people, and try to understand that these people are, God put them there for a reason so they can find out what they can do to help. These drug dealers, they're trying to self-medicate because a lot of this medication is not helping, or a lot of people are hungry, and these black people need healing. There are white people that come into black people asking for drugs because they need healing, because some of them are saying they're getting raped by their parents because they got issues too. A white man fell in love with a black woman. Jungle fever happened. Love is what happened. And now, what do? Now, the other black person's like, I got your person, but it's not really about that. I love you. I don't look at you as color. I look at your heart. I appreciate you loving me and taking care of me and looking past my flaws, because they hate me and they don't like me. And they burn you. Why are they burning you? Because they were burned. When they go under the sun, that's the ritual. They want you to feel their pain. They don't understand, so they're like putting black people and black children, burning black babies. Why are they doing it? Because they have hate in their heart, because they feel like God hates them and the universe hates them because they can't go under the sun. But you can't rub your skin and your melanin skin in their face. Don't be like that. Don't be that kind of person. They're just as beautiful. It's just evil happens in people's hearts. And they say it's because when Adam and Eve ate from the apple, evil entered the world. A battle started. But also, look at what it happened. God said in the Bible, no man should be alone. Don't leave God alone. So when we fail, God fills in. God didn't leave Adam alone. He could have left Adam and not made Eve, and not created Eve, or not be with Eve. He could have kept Eve for himself, but God shared Eve with Adam to make you guys. But now God says it's his turn to make children, but don't abuse his children. When you see the Christians, don't abuse them. When you see whatever other religions, don't abuse them because they're representing God and they're not atheists. Just because there's an atheist, don't abuse him because he doesn't believe. There was something that happened to him that made him not believe. So let's try to sympathize with each other. We're in the same house. Work together. Karma is a bitch. We don't want these things to happen to us repeatedly. It's time to make a change and make a difference. And we can't do it apart. We got to do it together. So there are things that we need to talk about. What's happening in the shelters? Why are people on the street instead of shelters? Because people are running out of educated workers. There are people that feel so highly educated that they cannot come down to work for this amount of money because there's too many problems. They're too high, too great. Once you work for a large amount of money, you don't even want to work for anything less because you feel like you're being cheated. But if you got a heart for people, you're going to volunteer your time. God is going to bless you. Trust and believe that. When you volunteer your time, this is a voluntary. This is not a paid program. You got to start with the bottom of your heart, with love, with freely you give, freely God will receive. When I was out there, they were blessing me on the street. They respected me on the street. There were people that were disrespectful, which were, I guess, in the black, yes, very much in the black community. And there were some white people that hated me, but they did it secretly. They didn't do it. They know better than to attack me in public because cameras are watching. That's a lawsuit. There's going to be problems. That's why the law was created. Not to be broken, but to be fulfilled. To protect you. Police was bad then, doesn't mean police is bad now. There are some bad people in the police. Because remember, you have to understand, being a police officer, being a soldier, all this takes a lot of you. You're risking your life. There's a lot to think about when you go out there with that gun. So much that could happen. It's like kill or get killed, but don't kill. You can't be going out there as a police officer to try to kill people out of nowhere just because they're black or just because they're this or just because they don't have a gun. You got to be careful. Before you hire somebody as a manager, they need to go under a mental investigation. Make sure that they're mentally able to handle the position that you give them. They can't go out there with anger. They can't go out there. You can't shoot out of anger and wrath, of hate. You gotta be smart before you get in the ring to fight. So you know how to uppercut. You gotta think before you shoot. You gotta think before you throw your hand. So you can know exactly how to kill before you get killed. If you're a police officer and you're facing somebody that is about to kill you and you're trying to defend yourself. But you can't look at skin color. But the reason why they do that is because they've done all this for the black race. They've done all these people abuse the black race. Now the black race they've been terrorized, right? So now because they can't get to white people because white people have built their homes, they're terrorizing each other. Because they don't know who else to take it out on. So as Black Lives Matter, as a community, or rich people, even if it's not just Black Lives Matter, don't put it all on them. But they don't know who to give it to. You got to handle your own people. If a white person goes and speaks, they're going to say he's racist. He can't be said talking that. So that's why God sends these black people to come and speak up. If you as a black person, if you speak up and fight, you give another black person the balls or the strength to speak up about what's happening to them. To be honest. Let's have a conversation. Because there is money going on, but it's not all about the money. But we need that money so we can build houses. Do not go up there. I don't want to hear y'all going up there by the power of God and start telling the white people. They say, oh, we got you now. Who's the boss? No, don't do that. Be very careful. Don't do that. That's not why God. That's not what your money is for. God will take it away from you. You think God's black? God is white. No way you're gonna tell me that. Mother Earth, Eve probably was black. Because where did black people come from? But God is definitely a white man. Jesus is probably Middle Eastern. I don't know if it's white or black. But God is definitely white. Because the people half of my attackers are white. And my friends and my angels are also white. I got some black angels too. They're so hard to find though, because it's hard to find black people that for us, because most of the black people that have that mind and are beautiful and willing to do all these things, they don't even want to talk to us. We're not good enough because they're whitewashed. In their brain, they're whitewashed. They've been married to a white man. Now they're acting like white women, and they don't want to. They look at you and they look at you as disgusting, just because now they're racist. Just because of the way you are, they're disgusted. I've gotten to that point too, but I never looked at a black person and said you're disgusted. I didn't like your attitude. It wasn't the way you look. It's the way you were acting, but I understand why you're acting, but it doesn't mean it's okay. So I'm not going to stand in that community and just allow you to abuse me just because you need someone to take it out on. Because I'm not abusing you. I'm here to fight for you. Somebody got to speak up for you because you don't know what you're talking about. You don't know what you're doing. That black person you're making fun of and you're giving that crap to and you call and tell somebody they can do all this, that person could rise up and make a difference. But because the enemy is messing with your head, because the enemy messes with people that are weak-minded, because that's who he can get to. So when you're weak-minded, he tries to torment you. God wants to open your eyes. He uses all the people around you. He uses me and all the people around you to tell you that your enemies could be those of your own household. It says that in the Bible. Same thing with white people. Their enemies could be because half of the people in your household that she's in love with he got jungle fever and in love with a black person, and they're looking at you and they're like, man, you messed up, and they're looking at the evil and they're like, I'm about to leave and I'm about to go to the hood because my woman is bright and she's beautiful. Have you tasted her? The JJ? Have you done this? You know what I mean? She's gorgeous. That's how that's what they tell me, the ones that love me. But then there's some that hate me. I'm not saying all white people love me. There's some of them that are like, we don't want to hear that shit. So they got hate in their heart. I got jungle fever. I can't date black guys. I can't. I can't anymore. I tried it. You can't knock it till you try it. I tried it. And that doesn't go with everything. Some things you just shouldn't try, like crap. And other things. Right? But if we don't have the same mindset, if we're not mentally there, everything I say, if I go in a black community that's not ready to receive me, even the white community is not ready to receive me, or the Spanish community that's not mentally prepared to receive me, because specifically when I go in the white community and I have proper English and I speak like this, so it's an insult to them. So you think you're better than that because you could speak like that? I didn't stop you, but are you you can't argue with a fool. And I'm not calling you a fool, but when you act like that, you put yourself in that foolish position where I'm forced to call you a fool. I don't like to use the N-word because I don't pray ignorance over your life. I have used it before because I had to pretend like I was a black person in America in self-defense, because I didn't want them to know that I was from another country so they can try to take advantage of me. So I had to be like, yo, what's up? White people do it all the time, pretending it to fake it till they make it. Because they're stuck in the hood. Because their parents, out of nowhere, don't have any money. You know what I mean? So there are some poor white people that were forced to live in the hood because they don't have the money. And they had to act like they're black. They were raised black. I've got white girls that act black because they're raised in a black neighborhood. Like one of my best friends back in the past, Maria. Oh boy, I love that girl. She loved black men. That's what she did. She's beautiful. She said she can't deal with white guys. So sometimes it's like that. You can't get mad at a white woman because she's loving on a black man. That's beautiful. Oh, you taking all our niggas? They're not your niggers, first of all. And they're not niggers, first of all, because they're not ignorant. They smart. Everybody got some kind of intelligence. They're just catching up and waking up. Some of them may be ignorant, but they're still not the N-word. Just because white people called you the N-word doesn't mean you start to repeat. You're repeating that ritual and agreeing with them that you're ignorant. And so you're praying ignorance upon your own heads. It's because it's all you know. If I can come from Africa by the power and grace of God, and I'm making fun of you, not knowing English at all, And learn English. Learn how to speak proper English. Hi, how are you? How can I help you today? Is this day? You know what I mean? Sometimes I got it, sometimes I don't. Even when I'm around foreign people, sometimes I have to talk like I'm foreign for them to understand me because they don't understand my English. They're like, what are you saying? You're talking too fast. So people from France, they come and I'll be like, oh, and I have to humble myself to talk like them so they can understand. And sometimes when you hang around them too much, you start having an accent like them too. I started talking British because I thought I was British. I thought British was the best English. But I love American English, you know. But if I could learn how to speak American and come from not knowing English, but you lived in America all your life, you can come out of speaking Ebonics and learn how to speak proper English. Doesn't mean you have to stop speaking Ebonics. Sometimes when I'm in the hood, I be talking hood. Because I'm around my hood people and I'm speaking their language. You feel me? I know how to do it. Sometimes you got to learn how to switch it up. The same way you got to learn how to treat customers if you're an employee or manager a certain way. There's some customers that you do have to handle roughly because they're rough. But you got to learn how to turn that off. You can't treat every customer the same. You got to learn how to diffuse a situation. You got to learn how to communicate to a beast. No, they can eat you up. You know that, right? You communicate to them the wrong way. They can file a lawsuit on your boss. How can you be a friend or partner to your boss when you're not doing things that are supposed to happen the right way, and you're encouraging them to the people that work there to sue their boss, but your boss is paying you, trusting you with his people. I know being a boss is hard, so I can't look at business owners and say it's all your fault. Some of them maybe agree and they allow it to happen. They just can't say nothing. But it's hard for me to believe that because they're so busy doing paperwork, taking a vacation. Let's get to work, guys. Start training these employees, especially the black employees. Apple is doing a great thing. Apple is hiring a lot of black people. I've seen that. And you know the people, when I call and the black people pick up, they're educated. They talk to me, hey, how are you? We have long conversations. They got the money to train. You got the money to train. Try to get volunteers. Go to church. They got people that want to volunteer. You know? But these employees need a lot of training. Because they're going out there just saying whatever they want. And they're causing problems. And if I'm in the building, don't cause problems with me. Because some of these fucking people, they got, excuse my language, they know how to make bombs. Don't think just because they're homeless, they don't know what they're doing. They're done with life because they've been mistreated. They're like, I'm done. You seen bullies that turn into killers? Trying to execute a plan. What are they doing? Go down there. Go in those tents. Search. Be nice. Show love. Figure out what they're doing. Be smart. We need to know. We all live here. What are they doing? This is the United States. And if you're in any other country, do it in your country. But U.S., you're here. You're on top. They're looking up to you. So we are citizens. We can't, because you're black and you were abused, you can't say, fuck America. We hate America. You live here. Where are you going to go? This is your citizen. This is where you live. You can't go to Africa and say I'm a citizen. You have to earn the citizenship. I don't even know how they're going to allow you. You got to know people. And if you don't want to be friends with people that are African because you were mad at them, how the hell are you going to, if all the Americans, white people say, get out, where are you going to go? This is your house too. You were born here. But you can't deny Africans because you need to learn how to hustle and make friends. I can't be sitting here talking bad about all black people. We need to learn to work together. We're family. But if I know that you don't know, or, I mean, you probably know and you're pretending, I don't know. But if you're acting like that, you probably don't know. And if you are abused, then it's me that I'm like, okay, it's because they were abused. And it's happening over and over. The mother was abused, now she's abusing. The father was abused. Now, how are people learning if everybody's abusing everybody? There has to be a stop. And that's where the law came in. That's why the law is here. It was sent to defend you as a person. But businesses, you gotta allow people to record. Because you're recording every person that comes in your business. But when you tell them they have no right to record you, now you're becoming their enemy. You're setting them up. It's not fair. It's not a fair fight. Because they have people that you're hiring that are abusing us. They're abusing customers. And you think the customer is always wrong. The customer is not always wrong. These people you put in position are not educated. They don't understand your business. They don't understand what business is like or how it goes. They're just doing whatever they were trained to do. They got an attitude. They don't know how to talk. They're talking to anybody any kind of way. They're disrespectful. Then they're saying mentally ill people are allowed like 24-hour fitness. Starbucks. Hey, but you know what? At least Starbucks is trying. When I was homeless, Starbucks was letting so many homeless people sit in their thing. There were a lot of people not evicting people from there. I was there and I saw that. We were all hanging out charging. That's why they pulled the charges out, the plugs out. How did I know that if I wasn't homeless? They pulled the plugs out because there's too many homeless people sitting and nobody's paying to, and the people that are actually paying don't have seats. And now they have to clean up. I'm not saying don't allow homeless people, but I'm saying find a way to organize it. And they found a way they put out. But you know what? Starbucks is the only people. They're saying Starbucks keeps firing people because there were so many people doing the wrong thing in Starbucks. I saw it. That were employees, managers even. If the manager is not talking to people the right way, you're the manager, you're the mother. You're the boss, you're the father or the mother. You're the manager, then there's an assistant manager that comes after the manager. It's a team. The manager, you can't put all the work on one person. You got all this money though, right? I'm not trying to disrespect you or be disrespectful. I'm just trying to open your eyes in some way. Please don't take this to offense because we got to learn somehow. That's the only way we're going to grow. Businesses always say, when you leave, your feedback means the world because it's going to help us change and be better. The better you are, the more you're getting paid and the bigger difference you can make, right? So they know, they put that down and they leave it in your hands. If you don't say anything, then it's on you. That's why I'm saying something. Because I don't want that information on me, attacking me. Because now I'm an eye. You are eyes. God's eyes. Because this is God's business. You understand that? We are people. We don't want to live like hostages. We need to partner up with God. You don't have to. You don't have to. I'm just telling you. Let's work with each other, right? It's your daughter out there. It's your son out there. Don't start complaining about every single thing. Because there are people that don't have food, don't have a place to go, right? Try to be sympathetic. You see somebody laying down, passed out, before you try to tell them, hey, get up. You can't be right here. Before you say that, try to find out if they're breathing or not. Are they okay? You need some water. You need medical attention. And don't just always try to throw medical attention to them because some of them are scared of hospitals. If they start getting rough, then you bring the police in. That's what the police is here for. But if Black Lives Matter is saying defund the police, you're acting like criminals. I know what they're doing is wrong, but they're not all the same. We need the police force. When you got your $1 billion house, right? You need security guards and police officers, right? So don't allow them to say defund the police. The police need to get paid. They're risking their life. There's a lot of bad, I don't know if there's a lot of bad police, but I'm sure there's a lot of bad police officers that we don't know about. I don't know. But as long as I was on the street homeless, there's a lot of police officers that defended me, helped me, people, white people. The person that hit me was white, thank God. Forgive me. And then some Spanish people helped me. They stopped. They could have drove off. Maybe it was a black person or a poor Spanish person. I don't know, but they drove off. Because I ain't got the money. They ain't got the money. I'm blessed that it wasn't a black person, no offense, that doesn't have any money. Because the way they be thinking, they're probably like so damn tired of black people. They want us dead too. You got your own black people wanting you dead. So they see you and they hit you with a car. They say, fuck that motherfucker. They don't give a shit about you. It's a hustle to them. It's eat or get eaten to them. They don't care. But there's a lot of white people that do care about you. I'm telling you, well, they care about me. And that's why I'm telling you, I can't tell you what didn't happen. I'm not whitewashed. I'm just going by what happened. Maybe I am a little, but no, I'm not whitewashed. I'm defending everybody in every way, the best way that I can. But I don't know how else to communicate it without it being offensive to some people and not to others. It's how you perceive it, how you receive it, how you understand it. It's not to offense. Sometimes knowledge, wisdom, and understanding can be offensive. All right? So we're going to stop here because I'm a little hot. And there's so much we got to talk about, guys. Let's try to show love to one another. You know, I apologize if you feel offended by anything that I say, but it's all just for education. And please speak to me, talk to me, leave in the comments. Let me know how you feel. But please be as kind and respectful. I cannot condone or allow or say, you do what you feel. But I have to say, don't do it. Don't be disrespectful. But I know how you feel because when you're being triggered, your emotions come out. You get mad, you let it out. And sometimes I feel like it's better to let it out online than to let it out in person. But you know, we live in here in the world, in the law. When you run in business, when it comes to business, you cannot allow that. But do what you feel. But let's try to make this a respectful community so we can all have a good, safe conversation and communication to make the world a better place. Because the world is what? Our house and our home. God bless you guys. Have a good one. Truth.